Lauren Starr, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here on Zoom, in these most unfortunate situations. But I just wanted to be able to speak a little bit to this whole food cleanse. I think it's a perfect, you really couldn't ask for a better time to implement some dietary changes. And what I'd like to do, this real short video, because I'm sending this out to people who are interested to kind of spark some interest, is I want to just ask you, briefly, what is a whole food cleanse? What can someone expect, and why should they sign up?
Great. I'll give you some answers, and then please feel free to ask other questions as they come up.
Sure.
But a whole foods cleanse is a way of cleansing the body. So I'm sure you know this, and others who are interested may have tried other cleanses. There's juice cleanses and grapefruit cleanses and all sorts of things to just lighten the load on the digestive organs, which is a big boon for any of us who want to live a long time, because of course our digestive organs are always working. So to be able to give them a period of time where they're resting, they're repairing themselves, is really healthy for long-term health and good digestion. So the whole foods cleanse is a way to cleanse, but it's, in my mind, builds a platform for dietary changes after the cleanse.
Yeah, that's important.
So, for example, a juice cleanse, which is a great way to cleanse the body. I've also done quite a few of those. But after the juice cleanse, of course, you're going to go back to eating. You're not going to just continue on juice the rest of your life. But the whole foods cleanse gives you a platform where you start to retrain your taste buds, you start to retrain your habits in this week. And then for many people that I've worked with, after the cleanse is over, they feel like they have that platform to continue with dietary changes.
Yeah, I think
so because we're eating normal foods, unlike my example of a juice cleanse, you really have the opportunity to start feeling satiated with different foods, cooking in a different way, and then a lot of people take that and run with it after the cleanse is over. So I think that's the biggest benefit to a whole foods cleanse versus another type of cleansing.
Excellent. And I think it's a wonderful complement to the practice of yoga, because a lot of people are coming to the hot yoga environment to cleanse out some of the excess and some of the toxins that build. And in a very real way, we're learning how to redo our body. We're learning how to stand tall. So when we head back out into the world, we're bringing that new sense of posture, our expanded consciousness. And it sounds like this can be a really nice complement to the work that the people that are coming to our studio are already doing. I like the fact that it's not based on what a typical cleanse or diet might say, which is, you're gonna remove all this stuff and then try to keep it out, which is like a scarcity tactic. And we all know that doesn't work. But that we're going to be relearning, like you said, your taste buds, like retraining the taste buds and implementing this. It's almost like a course correct, and I really appreciate your explanation of that. So what can someone expect? Walk us through it. Sure. I've been a part of this experience many times with you before in our former company that we worked for. But for the viewer of this video, why don't you just walk us through the basics of it?
Okay, great. Yeah. So we start the cleanse by meeting together, and I'll explain the cleanse. There's, a packet, and I'll go through it with you. So we start the meeting a couple days before the cleanse itself starts.
And that's going to be on January, I think, 5th, correct? It's a Tuesday. And we'll be doing it via Zoom as well as in person. So there'll be a handful of us in person, and then the rest of the participants will be on Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for pointing out the date. So we'll get together a couple days before we're meant to start cleansing. So I'll go through what we're doing, and then you'll get, a packet to explain what we're doing. And essentially, the cleanse looks like you can eat whole foods. You can eat whole grains. You can eat legumes. You can eat vegetables. You can eat fruits, and you can drink teas, waters, and juices. And that's about it.
Caffeine is caffeinated teas?
Caffeine is ideally out of the cleanse.
Okay.
There is another aspect of the cleanse that I'll go over the first day when we do the introductory meeting.
I don't want to scare people off. I don't want to scare people off by saying caffeine early on, so maybe I'll delete that.
Okay, but let me say about caffeine. So about caffeine, many people are into caffeine, myself included. It's really hard to give up. So we have an ideal way to we have an ideal way to do the cleanse, and then there's what we call the spectrum approach. So I actually have written out a little spectrum here.
Excellent. This is very, very, very important knowledge, because a lot of people are scared. Some of the concerns I'm getting, and thank you for allowing me to echo what you're saying here. Many people are saying is like, I don't want to do it because I don't want to have to give something up. I don't want to have to, let go of this. So this is going to be really important, this spectrum aspect.
Yeah. And the way I see it is, let's say that a person sets out to do this cleanse, and then in the end it's harder than they think, and they do end up continuing to drink coffee, let's just say. Fine, that is way better. They're still going to get so many more benefits than if they hadn't attempted the cleanse in the first place. So I don't see it as a zero-sum game at all.
Understood.
We certainly have, a high standard for the cleanse, but many, many people do it, but they say, you know what, I'm going to continue with my morning coffee, or I'm going to continue with, this piece of toast that I love every day at noon, or little things like that.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not ideal, but you still get so much benefit out of the rest of the cleanse. So I absolutely welcome people who want to modify it a little bit, and that's why we have this continuum approach, which I'll go over, and shows you how to modify. So if you're hungry, you don't jump to eating a steak, You might start with if you're going to go off the ideal standard of the cleanse, maybe you have some coffee, maybe you have a piece of bread.
A little bit of permission, some permissiveness to help people.
Said, yes.
All right, cool. Awesome. Okay, so that the first session, you'll be going over that. Now and you'll also, from what I understand, you'll be teaching them about what to get at the grocery store, and just be totally available for any Q&A and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a whole grocery store list, so what you have to buy for the cleanse. As you can imagine, it's just pretty much whole foods, not a lot of nothing processed really. And then I'm available the entire time of the cleanse and after the cleanse also for any questions. You can call me, you can email me. But the meetings are set up to address the bulk of questions. So we have Q&A, and then we'll meet during the cleanse, which is a time where people are experiencing different things. Some people feel great, some people feel hungry, but we get together and bring questions. And then I talk about different ways to increase the cleanse. There are a variety of things you can do if you choose. And then the final meeting is just a way to debrief. Generally at that meeting, 80 to 90% of the participants feel really good. The cleanse can be, somewhat uncomfortable for a few days, but for most people by the end, they feel fantastic. Excellent. And I think that's a lot of what has people continue some of these changes after the cleanse is over.
Good. Tuesday the 5th, we plan on meeting via Zoom or in person at Gratitude at 7:30 p.m. And that's going to be this initial meeting that you've been talking about right now.
Yep. Friday to Friday. It does also depend on people's schedules. We try to do it all together, but if there's a person who has, say, a wedding on the first weekend, I would recommend waiting to start. But yeah, I think starting Friday morning is a good idea. Truth be told, often the first 3 days can be the most difficult for people. Yeah. Some people don't have much of a problem at all. It really depends on the individual. But a person who does choose to go off coffee, for instance, they might feel it for the first couple of days. So it's nice to start on Friday and then have a pretty open weekend so you can take time to prepare these meals, to relax. Let yourself take it easy the first few days. By the end, you might feel, like I said, a real pickup in energy. And those first few days it's a good idea to take it slow. So I think starting Friday morning is probably the best.
Awesome. So all day Friday, all day Saturday. And the way that you and I, Lauren, have discussed this, on that third day, which is going to be Sunday, we would meet sometime Sunday evening. So you're on the West Coast, obviously. If we did something like 5 or 6 o'clock on Sunday for that third day crucial meeting, I think that's going to work. Now, I know you had mentioned that people have a difficult time, and I just want to talk about the importance of this second Zoom meeting and gathering for moral support. That's the term that you used in the verbiage for the website. Can you speak to the moral support? I know you already said having a difficult time, but we want to perhaps really pre-frame people to what potentially can happen and what we've done and you've done in the past to help them surmount those challenges and keep going and not quit.
Sure. So as we talk about in any form of yoga, going through difficulty, is very helpful in creating character, and really being able to walk through the world without letting difficulties or discomforts adversely affect us too much or throw us off our path. So we apply the same logic here to the cleanse that we do to, say, a difficult yoga posture, a difficult yoga class.
A warrior two at a Roman class.
Great example, yes. A Roman class of long holds. It's a very similar way to look at it. So you know that you're going to be fine, you're going to survive. You're still eating. There's no threat to your survival. And for some people, they're a little more attached to food or drink than other people. It really does depend on the individual. But even if you feel a little bit of craving, that's a great thing to work with. I can give you an example about my own dear husband who first did this cleanse. He used to drink about 6 or 7 cups of coffee a day. He went, and I was telling him as the cleanse was coming, maybe you should cut down on the coffee. It's going to be tough the first few days. He said, no. First day he did the cleanse and he didn't have any coffee, but he really had quite a bad headache. So he's since done it several other times, and he always cuts down before. But now he doesn't even drink more than a cup a day as a result of, cutting it out. He just felt like, oh, this doesn't feel as good as I thought it would. So that second meeting is really important for moral support. Generally, you'll hear from other people that other people are going through what you're going through. Some people don't feel that bad. Some people feel great by eating a little bit less. But I think the moral support helps us remember the perspective that we're fine, nobody's starving here. You might not be able to have your preferred foods for a few days, but a week goes by very quickly.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome.
The other thing that helps in the Sunday meeting is just hearing other people's stories. So hearing what people made to eat, what people made to drink, how they, distracted themselves from their cravings, for instance.
Yeah.
And usually we have some laughs about how it's going. And that usually sets people up to do well for the rest of the cleanse.
Perfect.
And then we meet at the end as well.
Awesome. So the final meeting will be on Friday evening, potentially, where we could do a 6 p.m. and then we'll have that cleanse meeting. And then potentially your services, your counseling, your consulting will be available to anyone after that if they have anything that they want to follow up with. Moving forward, how can we now implement some of these changes and so on? Yeah,
that's exact. Yeah,
we've had. Lauren has done this form of a whole food cleanse for many years at our former company called Inner Strength, and people really love it and need it. And you really couldn't ask for a better time because people, including myself, we've developed these coping mechanisms through potential drink or overindulging or eating or whatever it might be, simply because of circumstances that if we continue with them, they may be unhealthy and not really serve us. So there's a lot of interest, and I hope that this program, I hope you, the people watching this, are going to be inspired enough to sign up for the program. So the program is $99, and you're going to get this type of Zoom, this type of coaching. It's not going to be a recorded unless you can't make it. Then you'll get the recording. But Lauren's going to be available via email throughout at any time during the week. If you need to send an email, she's going to be responding emails. And I'm very grateful, Lauren, that we're able to bring this to the Gratitude Studio and the Gratitude community and beyond, because there's some people from other parts of the country that are going to be joining as well. Now, are there any other things that you want to add before we close this up?
I just wanted to add, besides what you mentioned about unhealthy habits that a lot of us end up falling into over the years. Besides that, some people also find that they had a slight food allergy that they didn't know about. So as you know, when we do the whole food cleanse, we're not having dairy products, we're not having glutinous products, we're not having soy products. All those things are cut out. So I have worked with many people over the years who find that when they cut those things out, their digestion gets a lot better. Some people report decrease in bloating and some little inflammation or symptoms that people have they weren't just living with.
And that's absolutely.
And then when they cut it out, they often realize, oh, I do have an allergy to maybe it's milk or maybe it's gluten or maybe it's soy products. And of course, that information is invaluable.
It really is, because you don't know what you don't know until you let it go. It's
and the experiential, the way to learn it experientially really hits home, I think, harder than reading in a book, if you have a funny tummy, maybe you're allergic to X, Y, or Z. But when you experience taking those things out of your diet and you feel for yourself firsthand how much better you feel digestively or otherwise, I think that really gives us the lesson in a much deeper way than just reading it.
Awesome. Beautifully said. Well, Lauren, thank you so very much for taking the time to do this and to record this Zoom meeting, because a lot of people want to know what this is. The information on the website is definitely helpful, but I think this is going to help people really understand that if there's a need and a desire to make some positive changes, this can be catalytic in doing that.
Yes, and please send anyone my way who has questions beforehand too. I'm happy to speak to them.
Absolutely.